Hey guys, welcome back to Screenwriting in Paradise, where we are all storytellers. We love good films and we appreciate stories well told. That's why we are going to continue to go mining for gold in one of my favorite movies, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is actually part two of a two-part series, I guess. And the first part was the last video I shot. So go check it out, either that way or that way. I'm not sure how you're looking at it. But I think I had promised in that one a big reveal, and actually it's in this one, part two. Part one is really the ticking clock stuff. It's like really amazing ticking clocks happening. So if you haven't seen that, go see that. And I still recommend seeing the entire movie first, preferably, so you can just ride along with me here as a co-pilot. And otherwise, it doesn't matter if you haven't seen the movie because it's still a story within a story, so you'll get it. It's cool. But okay, referring back to the last part, it all began actually with a big reveal, which was that these mental patients in this classic, scary American mental institution from the 70s, which really did exist, led by Jack Nicholson's character, McMurphy, who's, again, there against his will because he's actually a criminal and he's there because of his will, because he chose to be there because he didn't want to go to prison. So he was able to fool his prison warden into sending him to this mental institution because he thought he was nuts. But he's not. And he finds an ally. And we'll find out about that soon, the big reveal. If you have a DVD or if you have it on Netflix or something, just scroll to about an hour, I think an hour and 5 minutes into this wonderful movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and you will find this sequence. But it's probably like 12 minutes long, something like that. And it really begins with this, the cigarette. But right before that, and I think actually I showed it in the last part, maybe I didn't, maybe I skipped ahead, but there is a huge reveal, which is that all these patients in this lockdown mental institution, McMurphy learns, are voluntary. Or most of them are. They can leave whenever they want. He can't. He's in there for, until Nurse Ratched decides to let him go in whatever condition he's in. But they can leave. And it's a big moment. And he's not happy about it. And that's what leads to this whole explosion and all these ticking clocks, including this one. So that's the cigarette that starts it all. That's why I probably just call the last part cigarettes, and this part two, the big reveal, which is coming up. So basically what happened is, of course, Cheswick, this one of the mental patients, I don't even know what the politically correct term now is, the challenged people confined in this big white building. He just wants to get his cigarettes back that have been confiscated by the greatest villain or antagonist of all time, Nurse Ratched, aka Louise Fletcher, for her Oscar-winning performance, deservedly so. But he wants his cigarettes back, and she won't give it to him. So Jack, after much prodding and becoming a ticking clock, not a clock himself, he smashes her window and takes poor Cheswick's cigarettes and gives them to him. Amid all this chaos, and a bunch of orderlies come and jump on him, which I'll just show you the ending of right here. And the big Indian, who I believe is an actor named Will Sampson maybe, wonderful actor, but he's actually Native American. He's the real McCoy, and he is amazing in this film. It makes so much a difference to have him in this film. And he's also the character from the book. If you ever get to read the book by Ken Kesey, great book, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But anyway, the big Indian comes over and literally, helps McMurphy when he's getting attacked by all the orderlies for trying to defend poor Cheswick. And they are dragged off to God knows where, and that's what we're going to find out right now. So I'm going to make myself smaller, put me over in the corner here. There's the cigarette again. That's the beginning of the ticking clock. And for those of you who weren't in the last session and happen to be watching this one, a ticking clock is pretty simple. It's like a fuse. You light it. The audience sees it. We see it. Probably nobody else within the movie. These fictional characters see it. So we know the bomb is going to go off. And this cigarette lands in Christopher Lloyd, the guy from Back to the Future. He's one of the patients. It lands on the lapel of his pajama bottoms and is about to burn his ankle. And when it does, he's a ticking clock, or it's a ticking clock, and he explodes and chaos ensues. And that's when Jack gets in trouble and gets the help from the big Indian. Now I'll just fast forward over there. And there they're all screaming and looking for the cigarette. There's Christopher Lloyd just about to explode, doesn't realize it, but he's about to explode right there. Ready? Oh, boom, boom, boom. And look at that look. And Cheswick's definitely exploding. He really wants his cigarettes. And that's what drives Jack to go get the cigarettes and give them to him. And the guy in the wheelchair is buzzing around watching all this. And the orderlies come. They almost break Jack's arm. Again, this is the last segment, so just go check it out. Here comes his good friend, the big Indian, who we know is deaf and dumb, not like Helen Keller, who I believe is blind as well. So, again, it's probably a very politically incorrect way to say it now, but he can't speak and he can't hear, as far as we know. And then let's just cut to right here, which is the continuation of the scene. It's like literally the chaos suddenly stops and we see this orderly about to open a door. And I'll show you what's going to happen here. Let's just see. They bring these guys in, okay? So basically, all three of them are brought in, and they are placed on a bench. So there's a lot of these little cameos, or not even, they're almost like subliminal splatters, not splatters, flashes, sort of like subliminal flashes throughout this sequence. So they're there just to add to the unease, and they're literally, it's flashed in there. It is. It's almost like, what's it called when they, it is subliminal. When they like a flash, you're watching a movie and they flash popcorn at you or something, so you want to eat popcorn even though you didn't realize you saw it, or a cheeseburger or something like that. Milos Forman's doing a little bit of that here, just flash, flash, flash. We see these little quick reaction shots. But he places these guys, again, how do I go? Should I be up there? I'll be up there. I'll be in the painting. So he places the three of them on this bench. And it's really important how they're placed here. I'll talk to you about that in a second. But anyway, everyone's very nice to them so far. They're like, oh, Mr. Cheswick's a little bit upset. And the nurse is like, okay, sit down here, gentlemen. They go get him some medicine. Jack has no clue what's going on because, again, he's an ultimate fish out of water. He's never been here, done that before. Some of these other people, you'll see in a second, absolutely know what's about to happen. Probably all of them. But McMurphy has no idea. And so he's kind of like, what is going on here? He knows he was a bad boy because he, broke the window for the cigarettes, but he doesn't think anything's else of it, I think, at this point. That's the impression. But then, remember that guy, Dr. Death, I told you about? See this locked door, so these guys are definitely locked in, hardcore. He comes in, Jack sees him. Let's just fast forward or slow motion. This is what I want to show you. This is the choreography again. I'm talking about a lot of choreography in some of these vids, but it's really important for storytelling. And not only, those three guys sitting on the bench, but all these folks right here. Look at them all. These are all patients, challenged people in a scary old American mental hospital. But look at what they know. They know something that we don't, and we get a feel for it. Again, those guys behind bars, remember we were just seeing the subliminal stuff that the director Milos Forman was throwing in there. Look at them disappear, right? Woo! They all disappear when he comes. Why would that be? And you're writing this, or you're thinking this, when you're making this story, how do we make this more ominous? Well, Dr. Death can be, of course, in black. That's why I call him Dr. Death. And everyone else is in white because I guess either they're orderlies or that's what patients wear. But the bottom line is all the good, or all the white anyway, people in white, disappear, literally. It's like a dance. They just kind of like, even if they're clearly not well in the head, they still manage to get away because they all, even whatever part of them is with it, know this guy is no good. And they don't want to mess with this guy. That's why they all disappear. Jack doesn't know that. And this guy comes through and he's like, that's interesting, says Jack. What's all this about? He's confused. I would be too. I wouldn't know. And then in comes a nurse with some medicine, says, have your medicine, folks. They're like, whatever. Here's that guy. Here's another guy. See, they're all looking. Uh-oh, what's going on? And then they say, I think it's Cheswick has to go. Come on, Mr. Cheswick's turn. It's your turn.
No! Nobody's going to hurt you. Come on.
No! And Cheswick, of course, doesn't want to go because he knows what's going to happen. We don't. If you never see the film, I won't tell you yet. But, something's going to happen that he's not happy about. And that's why everybody cleared out when Dr. Death walked down the hall. And all the patients disappeared because they know someone's going to get it. It's going to probably be one of those three guys on the bench. And who's going first? Again, choreography. Cheswick. It's damn cigarettes, you know? So he goes screaming and yelling for Mac. Mac! No! Which, of course, probably freaks him out even more. But what is Cheswick here, you guys? And see, these guys have all come back now because they know they're not in danger. They know just he's in danger, but they are not. So they've all come back out and they're curious, you know? This is probably the most entertainment they get in a week or a month. But he is what we called from the last time. Probably what I will retitle the last part of the first part of this video series, the ticking clock. He is a ticking clock, right? He's going in there, he's blew up, and but also it's not about him blowing up. Actually, it's about when he comes back out, because we know he went in there, right? So that's what I'm saying by the ticking clock, because it's fed us something quietly, or loudly rather, and made us feel unease, but then we'll forget about it. But we know that he's in there. And that's the beauty of a ticking clock. It's planting a payoff is maybe a better term, actually, in a way sometimes. But you see the gun, and the gun comes back later. You see Cheswick freaking out, he disappears, and he'll be back in a few moments, and we'll see what happens then. So anyway, just to go forward, you get the two people here that are left, the big Indian and McMurphy, the chief, I'll call him from now on. I think he is referred to as the chief, actually. The big Indians from the book. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, the chief. So it's just the chief and McMurphy. And let's see. Okay, so they're sitting next to each other. Simple little shot. McMurphy looks up at him. He's doing something right there. He's got some gum in his hand, right? So he offers the gum to the chief, who says, "Thank you." The deaf and dumb, for lack of a better term again, the guy who can't speak, he thinks, says, "Thank you." It's very subtle. But it's important that, again, probably one of the best actors on the face of the earth, Jack Nicholson, doesn't freak out yet, but it does in a second. First, it's just like, what? Look at that face. Get me out of there. Get me out of there. Where am I? Smaller. There. Look at that face. Jack's like, what? Am I hearing things? No way. So he needs confirmation. That's the beauty of this. It could just be right here. No way. Oh my God. No, he's got to have confirmation.
Juicy fruit.
Juicy fruit. Now, why is that important? Why can't Jack freak out like he's about to right here and go, "Oh my God, Chief," when he says, "Thank you"? It's just about the words, first of all. It's like, "Thank you." And he goes, "Oh my God, Chief." No. He says, "Thank you" is the entrance into this greatest reveal in film history, I think. Amazing reveal. A secret that is revealed or exposed. But it's such a great moment, so it can't be, exposed with the words "thank you." Something a little more colorful. So "thank you" is the introduction. Like, uh-oh, did I hear that correctly? But the next words are "juicy fruit," and I love that. It's a piece of gum. Of course, not everybody's had juicy fruit from Wrigley's, I believe. But I mean, it could have been Bubblicious or some kind of weird bubble gum, or candy floss. Snickers. No, it's a piece of gum. It's really simple. Juicy fruit. Perfect. Couldn't be better. And look at McMurphy's reaction.
Well, you sly son of a bitch, Chief.
He's like, "Wow, you sly son of a bitch, Chief." And let me just see if I can go a little bit further.
Jesus Christ. You fooled him, Chief.
You fooled them, Chief. You fooled them all. You fooled them good. And, Chief's just sitting there smiling, chewing on his juicy fruit.
You fooled him. You fooled them all.
And, again, this is the ultimate mind F for McMurphy. He's like, "Oh my God, And and McMurphy, or Jack rather, is such a great actor that, with his big forehead and stuff, just going like, you can just see it kind of like come over him, right? The excitement when he looks at him first. And then it's just like after the thank you, when he says the juicy fruit, it's just kind of, literally like a volcano. It goes whoosh. I don't know if you ever saw the movie American Beauty with Annette Bening. There's a scene where she does this like visual makeover where she's screaming and then she goes whoosh. She's like a real estate agent and she makes herself normal. It's sort of like that. Also a great moment. But this is an amazing moment from Jack. And I don't think any other actor could have pulled it off quite so much. Just the joy of knowing that he has an ally all of a sudden. It's so exciting for him. Great direction, great acting. But then, even better, watch this.
What are we doing in here, Chief? Huh?
What are we doing in here, Chief? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Up to this point, the Chief has had like 3 lines, right? It was just like, thank you, juicy fruit. And then I think he says, you bad to McMurphy. I think the subtitles say you bet. I think he's saying you bad. So McMurphy says, let's get out of here.
Out.
And what does the Chief say?
Canada.
Again, one of the great lines I love in movie history. Canada. A man of many words. So again, that's like his 3rd line, right? Canada. Juicy fruit. You bet. Canada. They're going to go to Canada, especially at this time. Vietnam War was raging or just ending, so Canada was the symbol of freedom. If you didn't want to be sent off to Vietnam, you went to Canada, and that's where they're going to go. Canada is the symbol of freedom. So wonderful sequence. What happens right after that? The ticking clock or the payoff for Cheswick. Yep. So that's Cheswick. Dear old Cheswick. Screaming about his cigarettes, comes in there screaming about going into that room. We don't know what's going to happen to him. We still haven't seen it. We have no idea what's going on in there. But when he went in, he was screaming. But he's brought out on a stretcher, comatose. So it wasn't good. You can understand why he was screaming. Everyone else is afraid of Dr. Death. So who goes next? That's very important, right? It is...
Mr. McMurphy?
Huh?
McMurphy. Okay, so wait. If we then go back... right here, just to the 3 of them. Let's just see right around there. Get me out of the picture again. Sorry. I'll go up there again, do the picture up here right above these guys. Yeah, a little smaller. Okay. Actually, I take that back. Let's get me out of the picture again. We'll go over here.
Mr. Cheswick.
Why does Cheswick go first? Okay, why does he go first? Why not Jack or McMurphy? Why not the Chief? And the choreography again of this is amazing because even what the fact why is Cheswick there, right? Because basically the whole point of all of this is to get him into that room. If he sits alone or if they just drag him in there, it's completely different. And also we miss one huge element, which is the big reveal. The juicy fruit, right? We need these 2 to be alone so the big reveal can happen, and then we get him in there. So the point of the whole sequence, back to the cigarette even, is to get the electroshock therapy for him, for sure. That was the big thing, right? But actually even bigger is the reveal. But that has all to do with the choreography of these 3, right? So basically you bring them all in. Cheswick is also equally guilty because he was ranting and raving about his cigarettes. These guys got in a fight. But they take Cheswick first, and it also because Cheswick is the one who's going to freak out and be a little ticking clock because he knows what's about to happen. So we, and subliminally he, and certainly all of them, are informed of something bad going on there with Dr. Death. And then when they're left alone, these 2, it means they can talk. And then we get the big reveal. That's the choreography. But then why doesn't the Chief go next? Because, again, we could do that, but then we'd have to see the Chief get it. He'd be sitting out there twiddling his thumbs, McMurphy, waiting, like, what's going on? No, it's also efficiency, but also storytelling, right? So it makes complete sense that the last person we see sitting alone on the bench is the Chief, right? After this wonderful little reveal. And, it's his ally. And so when Cheswick's brought out on a stretcher and he goes in, he's like, all right, Chief, let's get me out of here again. And the chief knows it ain't good. But that's so important, that choreography, that, you know, how Foreman, or possibly even the writer, chose who would go first and who would go last, and why there were three of them there. So all these things really matter in storytelling, you guys, certainly, whether it's actually in the written form or in the cinematic form. But this is a really great visual storytelling. And now we got to see what happens to old McMurphy. And he goes in and leaves his newfound friend and ally waiting to go to Canada. And he goes into this room with Dr. Death where they are waiting for him. And it's pretty ominous. And he's pretty calm, cool, and collected.
Take a cigarette break, boys. Easy.
And being a little cocky, actually, and doesn't quite realize what's going to happen. Probably knows it's no good, but he lies down just like a patient does. Still making jokes and cracking jokes about Nurse Ratched and such. And then he sits down, and of course, they put this thing in his mouth.
You from biting your tongue. Now just bite down on it.
Basically, so he won't bite his tongue off, I believe. And they put these, what look like headphones, but these things on his temples. I think they're moist because they are going to have electricity going through them.
Here we go.
And he gets zapped. Okay? Zingo. He just had electroshock therapy, which I have never witnessed in my life. And I certainly had never witnessed anything like it till I saw this movie, nor had millions of Americans. That's why probably this scene and another scene later changed the way we view how we deal with the mentally ill, at least in America and a lot of other advanced countries, because this is just not okay. A lot of people said, "Ooh, this is not okay." So I think a lot changed because of this wonderful film and this scene in particular. But again, we don't know if he's dead or brain dead now, but it doesn't look good. You know, you don't want to get shocked in your brain like that and have people holding you down so you won't bite your tongue off and flail around like a fish, literally a fish out of water on the beach. So then we cut ahead just a second and we see the patients. You know, we have no idea how much longer or how much later this is, the beauty of filmmaking, but it's, you know, a while later. We see this is McMurphy entering while there's a another one of these meetings going on with the students in Nurse Ratched.
Big breath.
See, there's McMurphy down here. And I'll just actually pull him up a little bit so we can get to it. So McMurphy's walking by like Frankenstein, you know, or like a zombie. You know, like that's his best zombie look. It's very much if you ever saw The Shining. He has the same, you know, this Kubrick look where you lower your jaw and like this. Anyway, that's McMurphy after electroshock therapy. All these people in the room are a little freaked out when they see him. Except for one. And who would that be? Nurse Ratched. What does she do? And then, what does he do? He looks at his ally, the one person he really cares about in this movie now, and he winks. So, he's okay. And actually, when I ask my students this, when I've shown this one in the past, I say, you know, I show the whole sequence. I say, so at what moment do we know that McMurphy's actually okay? He's not brain dead. And they all say that one, because they all missed the previous one. But when she goes like this, it's actually, again, maybe like a thank you thing. It's really a shout out to us that he's okay, because she knows it. She's even smirking. It's like, you know, she's not laughing, but she's just like, oh, McMurphy, not McMurphy again. She knows, because, you know, obviously she knows he's not brain dead. But we don't, and nor do these guys, including him, until he sees the wink. And then, of course...
How about it, you creeps, you lunatics, mental defectives?
Yeah, he throws a party, and Nurse Ratched's just not happy again, which is not good, because you do not want to cross Nurse Ratched. And he does one little thing that really annoys her, other than riling up the troops again.
Oh, I'd love to join the group.
I'd love to join the group.
Mildred?
Mildred. No. You don't call the queen Mildred. It's Nurse Ratched.
How's it going?
Look at that look. Yeah, that was the one. She is so good at being angry. When she heard Mildred, didn't matter what he was doing, jumping around like a maniac with all the other maniacs. No, that was just like, she'll deal with it. But him calling her Mildred, that crossed a line. That's not okay. So this is just, again, a wonderful, wonderful sequence. And it's just the biggest reveal in film history in my book, because we had absolutely no idea that he would find an ally in this wonderful human being, the chief. And it's all revealed by one or two simple words: juicy fruit. Or thank you if you want to say first, but I think it's juicy fruit. It's so beautiful. Okay, so that was some fun mining for gold. I hope you enjoyed the buried treasure as much as I did. Can't wait to see you guys soon. We'll be doing more of this.